Hi, I'm Dr. Cynthia Clark, acupuncture physician, applied clinical nutritionist, creator of Energy Evolution, and president of Longevity Wellness, and I am here today with...
Ta-da!
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So this is Chuck Pisa, and he is an esoteric energy healer that works at Longevity Wellness with us. And we want to talk to you today about something that's really on our hearts. In fact, it's something that we wish we could tell our loved ones every time that we are with them. And that is really how to take the best care of yourself, or as I like to call it, how to spend the least amount of money in our clinic. Because I'm a budget-minded girl. I was an engineer before I was an acupuncturist. Chuck is a scientist before he was an energy worker. And we think very practically and pragmatically. And we like people to get to take the simplest and easiest path with the least amount of suffering. So I'll go first, and then I'll pop it over to you, and we'll go back and forth.
Great.
Okay, so number one is the number one thing that I hear most people say when they come to see me is one of two things. Either, I know I don't drink enough water, or I drink enough water, and then we do the math, and it's not anywhere close. And in fact, even in my family, I had two loved ones that one person for a lengthy period of time was drinking 4 ounces of water a day. That's not good. And then the other one was drinking 10 ounces of water a day. So here's the equation, because we like equations. Here's the equation. Take your weight in pounds, divide it in half. That's the number of ounces of water that you should have a day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should have 100 ounces of water a day. And water is amazing for so many different biochemical, neurological, electrical activities in the body. It helps us conduct electricity, which means directly how clear we think. So if you're tired and it's been a long day and you're thinking, oh my God, I just need a cup of coffee, think for a moment about how much water you've had today. And you may well find there's a 90% likelihood that you're not coffee deficient, you're water deficient. Try drinking water first and see how that works out for you. It is also the number one health beauty product. It is pretty much free unless you need to buy 17 bottles of the fancy, super fancy water every day. But I encourage you to have a great water filter at your house. And we bathe in it too, right? Like it is so necessary for every single physiological process that has to do with life. So that's the number one way that you can spend the least amount of money at Longevity Wellness or whatever healthcare practitioner you work with. Number one way, drink water. And by the way, if you don't feel like, if water just doesn't feel right, that means that you are very dehydrated. Make sure that you're getting minerals, because where salt goes in the body, water will follow. And if it feels like water is just going right through you, take only about 3 sips at a time. I only learned that a few years ago.
Yeah, the sip method.
The sip method, and it is dramatic. I tested out on my bike rides, on my Ironman distance bike rides, where I do not want to get off the bike because every second matters. And the difference between glug, taking like 10 sips, 15 sips at a time versus 3 sips every few minutes is the difference between it going into my body and staying in my cells, or me having to get off the bike and pee.
Yep.
So water. Okay, Chuck.
But to piggyback on that, our bodies are 70% plus water. And guess what? That 70% doesn't stay 70% because you're active, you're eliminating water, you're sweating water. Even if you don't feel like you're sweating, you're evaporating water. So that 70% can shrink very quickly. This is why you bringing in more water, fresh, clear, clean water, is so critical. And there are so many processes in the body that are dependent on water, and energy is one of them. That H2O molecule, there's oxygen in there. And oxygen is really important. And so is the hydrogen. They're all go to manufacturing energy in the body. So believe it or not, water is an energy drink.
It is the energy drink. You know, it is so hard not to get up and go have a glass of water right now. Like my water glass is right there. And I'm realizing as we're talking, even though I'm a healthcare practitioner making a video about water, I haven't had enough water to drink this morning.
Next video, we'll bring a glass of water.
Okay, great. Okay, now what is a great tip from an energy perspective of how people can spend the least amount of money at longevity wellness?
Well, there's so many to choose from, but I would say one of the things I've been doing recently with my clients is baby steps. Sometimes you can't move from here to here, but you can move from here to here. And so one of them is to take something simple like maybe getting in and out of your car, like every time you open a car door, or maybe every time you sit down at a desk table, some simple task that you do every single day. Hopefully it's not opening a refrigerator door, but whatever it is. But let's take the car example. Every time you go in and out of the car, when you sit down there, close your eyes, take one deep breath, and just center yourself. Be conscious of who you are. So just take a second and then go about your day. Mm. If you can do that consistently, or you commit to doing that little tiny practice, it's a little baby step, but it has profound results over time.
Yes, and to piggyback off that, because that is such brilliant and profound advice. And these are simple things, right? Like drink water, take a moment to center and focus. There is a fantastic book, one of both of our favorites I know, called The Secret Life of Plants. And in this book, it ties the correlation of visceral tension to many diseases, number one being cancer. And taking just a moment to stop and center. As you said that, I was doing it because I'm a good student, and I was doing it, and I could feel my whole body, but especially my abdomen, especially my viscera, relaxing. And I realized the strength and the power of what you say, that the importance of relaxing is so critical to blood flow and to energy flow.
Absolutely, and that being conscious of you. As opposed to where I got to go, who am I worried about? Is it my work? Is it my relationship? Is it some lack in my life? No, all that you're just coming to you. You're coming to your presence, and that is powerful medicine.
Yes. Okay, so my second one is really fits perfectly with that, and that is when you eat. No matter what you eat, and we'll talk a little bit more about what our recommendations are in general in that in just a moment. But no matter what you eat, take a moment to actually sit and be with your food and digest it. I don't know if you remember, as I was thinking about it, saying this, a couple of years ago, Chuck and I were talking about installing some shelves in the back room to put all of our pretty herbs on. And I had a very short period of time allowed for a lunch break that day, and he was very, very graciously helping me and putting together the plan for these shelves. And he said, "Hey, can I ask you some questions while you're eating your lunch?" And I said, "No." And I knew it must have seemed like such a weird answer because you're surprised, of course,
right.
At the time. But I knew the value of sitting and being quietly with my food and just relaxing, just being fully present, because if my blood can freely go to it's called the enteric nervous system, the digestive system, while I'm eating, if it can go to my tummy, then I can digest my food better. I can chew up my food better in my belly. If it's got to go to my brain, and if I'm running around, like on Ironman race day, if I'm running around trying to do everything, I can't eat hardly anything, not just on race day, but on the day after too. My whole digestive system shuts down, and you can imagine I can't take in many nutrients with that. Even if I could eat food, it wouldn't go well.
Yeah, and to add something to that, the enteric nervous system, as is any part of the nervous system, these are very sensitive receptors within ourselves. And if you're in the process of eating, think about this for a minute. You are ingesting, right? So if you're not with your food, if you're on your device, or if you're watching TV, or even reading a book, which doesn't sound, sounds like not so bad. You are ingesting that as well as the food. Think about that. Is what's on Instagram or Facebook as important as what's in front of you in terms of your food? How much of that intermixing of energies is coming in, and is your nervous system interpreting or misinterpreting? So
I will say that this is one that I find that I sometimes have to do baby steps with, because I can have so much in my mind about all the things that I want to do that sometimes putting something peaceful and gentle and beautiful on, while I know everything you've said is 100% accurate and is the best way, sometimes if I'm left alone with my own thoughts during mealtime, then it ends up becoming I end up having a very long to-do list because I can't quiet my mind enough.
Well, you can do baby steps.
Sometimes I need that baby step.
You do, or another baby step is just take the first 10, 15 seconds with your food, and as you put it in your mouth, taste it, smell it, close your eyes, be aware of it coming in. And if you can at least even do that every time you sit down to eat, then you can go on your device. and get your work done.
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
Not the A+,
but baby steps.
If you're going to be like, there is sometimes my brain is going to be so busy if I don't have something else to distract it for a moment. So yes, thank you for the baby step. And did you have another one that you wanted to go with? Because
I would say the other thing is, as for clients is, and on this topic of how can you spend the least amount of money with us, it's about efficiency, about the efficiency of your
I like this. I like efficiency.
Of your process. And so that means when you're with one of us, how much of when you leave, are you taking us with you? What as a percentage? I mean, are you hearing the suggestions that are being made? Are you committed, or are you following through on whether it's a diet suggestion or whether it's a energetic suggestion? If it's something that that you're having difficulty with, and if we give you some suggestions for working with that, are you taking that with you? Because if you are, the greater degree to which you can hear and listen and bring those things to bear for you, your result is going to be logarithmically or exponentially increased, which means you'll be paying fewer visits to us. And maybe even when systems get adjusted, you're spending less on supplements or whatever it is, maybe even medications and so forth. So
absolutely. I find that my best clients tend to take notes, and they keep track and then they follow them, which brings me to my third recommendation, and that is, so many of the people that come to see me are a lot like me. They're smart, they're well researched, they're expert at WebMD, Dr. Google. They're expert at finding things on the internet, and there's so much that we can find these days. They usually know dozens of things that they could or should be doing for themselves, but for some reason, either those things aren't working as well as they should, or they have trouble with the follow through. So there is one thing that we do in this clinic that I find is the most beneficial, has the highest effect on the prognosis, and otherwise said as how to spend the least amount of money in our clinic. And that is what I have started referring to as the $1 million energy work, the $1 million Qi Gong. And the reason for that is because it is so powerful. It is so strengthening to the body. It kind of creates the energy house that you can put all of your other great tools and practices into. Yoga will work better. Your supplements will work better. I have found on average that the people who do the $1 million Qi Gong once a week, in just a few weeks, they need about half of the supplements that they have needed. And I get super excited about that, because that means huge, powerful, like quantum level up improvements, right? And they're feeling better, and they're telling us how amazing that they feel. So I teach that class on Fridays at 8:30 on Zoom. There's also some apps that you can get to do it. It's called 8 Pieces of Brocade, is the traditional name for the Qi Gong exercise. But 8:30 on Zoom, you're welcome to join us. And again, the reason I teach that is because I have found it has the strongest benefit over time. So, $1 million Qi Gong. Do you have another one you'd like to share?
I guess, yeah, along those same lines of what you can do in activity. And one of my favorites is whatever level you're at, just walking, or if you bike or you run, spend some of the moment, some of that time without any earbuds, without, once again, disconnected, and tune into the nature as much as possible. If you could walk, run, bike, do it in nature, not on the city streets per se. I mean, obviously sometimes you have to do that, but the idea is to be in nature, because if you're in nature, that framework, that house Cynthia just mentioned, you can now fill with something that is natural. And nature has a decompressing effect on us. It'll decompress us emotionally, mentally. Stress and anxiety is diffused, all by taking a simple walk in nature. So that I find really, really valuable.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, and I don't need to add anything to that. That is profound and simple and beautiful. We're going to take just a moment and talk about food, because most of this you know, and maybe you know, but you're not doing it, which means you don't know with a capital K. It's not in your energy system, your energy field. So we're just going to take a moment to remind you of the importance of things like, don't eat the fried foods. They're filled with rancid oils and trans fats. They're very, very hard on the system. They contribute to cancer. They're very, very, very bad for you, especially over time. What you think of as a treat is not. It is really dangerous. It's really bad. Other things that can sneak into the diet are artificial sweeteners. These are toxic neurochemicals that build up over time. And it does not take, it might take days for some people, it might take years for others, it might take decades for others, but they will catch up to you, and we regularly have to work with the long-term effects of artificial sweeteners and how hard they are on the body. So I encourage you to really sit with, especially if you have any neurological symptoms like brain fog or balance or confusion, clarity, anything, or any kind of digestive issue. All of these can be tied to artificial sweeteners. Kicking those right out of the diet is really important. You know, go for your water. There's lots of different things. You can get the sparkling water, you can put the lemonade in it. By sparkling water, I really mean the mineral water, because that's where the money is in the mineral water. You know, put some lemon in it, put some cucumber in it, whatever you got to do, get yourself off of the artificial sweeteners, because they are hard on the body over time. Healthy fats, as long as you don't have a gallbladder problem, are really, really critical to brain functioning. So high quality olive oil, high quality coconut oil. The best oil to cook in is going to be coconut oil, because it can tolerate the high heat. So most of us use olive oil when we should be using coconut oil, because olive oil just breaks down at a really low temperature. It is fantastic. I love olive oil. I have a ton of olive oil every day. I pour it on top of things.
Me too. Not only is it delicious, but it's healthy, especially if it's EVO, extra virgin olive oil. But the other one I would mention too is, one of the things I do as a daily eating habit is I eat avocado, or sometimes make guacamole out of it. And not only is it another really super healthy fat that you can get, but there's a lot of other nutrients in it. And one of the best things I love about it is that it really can help you poop better. Because it's high in fiber, and most people have a difficult time getting fiber into their diet. But avocado is a really pleasant, delicious way of getting it into your system and your diet, and easy to do.
Yep. So these are general guidelines. I love educating people on Oriental medicine and nutrition, which is totally different than anything you've ever learned before, because we go far, far, far more advanced than just protein, fat, and carbs, which is critical to like the athletic training that I do. but is only a drop in the bucket to the wisdom that Oriental medicine reveals to us. So we can actually use food as medicine, and different foods strengthen different parts of the body. So, but we wanted to keep it short and simple and sweet and let you know how to spend the least amount of money in our clinic and how to get the most out of your day. So thank you for your time. We're so grateful for the opportunity to get to share this wisdom with you. Most of this you already know, but sometimes we need a little friendly reminder. So
A little reinforcement.
yeah. Thanks for letting us help remind you of this today.
And let us know if you've got any suggestions, any educational things you'd like to learn more about. Let us know those things so we can make more of these videos for you.
Yes. And also, you had the comment earlier that, everybody kind of has a different language on how they like to be coached.
Yes.
And we're very interested and we're very curious about this because there's dozens of different paradigms of personality tests, and we'd like to know what works for you. So leave it in the comments. Let us know what works for you. What do you notice helps you really take advice in and make it into an action item, a do it right now.
That's
versus,
positive for you.
Yes, absolutely. So let us know.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Cynthia Clark. This is Chuck Pisa. We're with Longevity Wellness, and that is good medicine. Chuck, would you do the honors?
Thank you.
Bye.